I remember that moment vividly. The room was dimly lit, the scent of dinner still lingering in the air, yet a chill of emptiness filled every corner. Beside me, my son David sat silently, his gaze distant. Then, my daughter-in-law, someone I once thought was close, turned to me with a look of contempt. "Your poor old face is becoming an embarrassment to this family." I froze, struggling to swallow the cruel words. David, as if waiting for this, nodded in agreement. The room fell into a terrifying silence, only the ticking of the clock on the wall echoing, reminding me that time waits for no one. I stood up slowly, folding my napkin with a composure I didn't feel inside. My heart pounded, but I refused to let them see the pain burning in my chest. "Well," I whispered, my voice barely audible, "it's still Christmas." My daughter-in-law shrugged, smirking, as if I had just said something meaningless. The atmosphere became suffocating, and I felt small, utterly alone in my own home. But deep inside, a faint determination began to flare. I could not let their cruel words define me. I would reclaim my dignity, and more importantly, I would reclaim myself. And so that Christmas was no longer warm. It marked the beginning of a long stretch of challenges where I would have to face painful truths about my family, myself, and the relentless march of time. The next day, the house appeared calm on the outside, but inside my mind was in chaos. I wandered through the rooms, listening to every footstep, every laugh, wondering if anything would change if I remained silent just one more day. David left early for work, and my daughter-in-law was busy on her phone, her gaze cold, yet calculating. I stood in front of the bookshelf, staring at old books and family photos hanging on the wall, questioning whether we had ever truly been happy, or if it was all just images I convinced myself were real to soothe my heart. A soft chime from the doorbell startled me. I opened it and found a small envelope on the doorstep. No sender's name, only a scrawled message. Not all truths should remain hidden. My heart raced. The envelope seemed to contain a secret, but I couldn't guess what it might be. Inside, I found an old photograph I had never seen before. In it, a mysterious woman stood next to David when he was a child. Her smile mirrored the fake one my daughter-in-law often wore. On the back of the photo was a single line, "He deserves to know the truth." I sank to the floor, stunned and confused. It seemed there were things in this family I had never known, secrets that time had buried too deeply. And these secrets would pull me into a whirlwind I could never have imagined. The stirring in me was no longer mere loneliness or despair. It was a fierce determination to uncover the truth, no matter what it took. No matter the betrayal, deception, or pain I would face. Yet even as this determination rose, I sensed one undeniable fact. Darkness was creeping in, not just through the house, but into my very soul. One wrong step could trap me in a maze of secrets from which there was no return. The next day, I couldn't focus on anything. The old photograph remained on the table, my eyes fixed on it. Who was this woman? Why had she appeared in David's life? And most importantly, why had I only received this clue now after so many years? David returned home in the afternoon, his face composed as usual. But today, I noticed a subtle shift in his eyes, a hint of unease, a trace of fear. "Mom," I began, my voice trembling slightly. "Do you know this woman?" He looked at the photograph, then at me, surprise flashing in his eyes, before he quickly masked it with calm. I know, but I thought it was better not to speak of it." My heart tightened. Not to speak, I laughed bitterly. "Do you really think hiding it makes anything better?" He lowered his head, silent. I stepped closer, trying to control my voice, though every word inside me wanted to explode. "You knew I endured those cruel words, David. And now you hide something important from me. He lifted his gaze, eyes heavy with fear I had never seen before. Mom, that woman. She was a part of the family's past you've never known. A part I never wanted to mention. I froze. Every word felt like a sharp knife slicing into my mind. At that moment, I realized that everything I had trusted, every moment of peace I believed in, was now trembling. Part of me wanted to run, to forget the photograph and the hidden past. But a deeper part, a core part, urged me to continue. I had to know the truth. I had to face it no matter the pain it might tear into me. And as the dusk shadows filled the room, I understood the journey to uncover the truth had only just begun. These secrets would change everything, the family, the relationships, and even who I was. A cold wind blew through the window as if signaling that the days ahead would be neither easy nor forgiving. And I knew from this moment on, there would be no turning back. The following day, I couldn't stay still in my familiar room. Every step I took on the wooden floor seemed to remind me that time was slipping by and no secret would reveal itself unless I sought it out. I decided to open the old cabinet in the living room, the one where David had once kept old photos and documents. My hands trembled as I opened each drawer, carefully flipping through each photo and letter. Then I stopped at a thick, yellowed envelope, old and worn. On it, a single word was written, "For Mom." My heart raced. I knew that even one envelope could change everything. I opened it and found letters written by hand, faded photographs, and an old diary. Each page seemed to sigh with the past, holding secrets the family had hidden for decades. Among them, I found another photo of the mysterious woman. This time, her eyes seemed to stare directly at me, filled with longing and a silent plea. An accompanying note read, "If you are reading this, know that things are not as they seem. David needs to know the truth, and so do you. Do not let the past continue to destroy the memories that remain." I sank to the floor, overwhelmed. The past I had thought forgotten was now staring me in the face. Buried fragments, things never spoken aloud, truths David and I had never dared confront. A soft sound from the hallway caught my attention. I turned and saw David standing there, his eyes anxious and filled with conflict. "Mom, you shouldn't," he said, his voice trembling, revealing his inner struggle. I looked straight into his eyes. "David, I've suffered long enough. Now it's time we face it. No more fear, no more silence. I need to know the truth, and so do you." David lowered his head, silent. The room felt heavier, the air thick with anticipation. In that moment, I realized that the journey to uncover the past had just begun. The secrets would test our trust, our emotions, and the strength of our spirits. A cold breeze drifted through the window, signaling that the days ahead would be neither easy nor forgiving. And I knew that from this moment on, there was no turning back. Sunlight streamed through the window, yet I felt no peace. I had stayed up all night, flipping through the old diary, reading the letters, the shaky handwriting of the mysterious woman. Inside me, curiosity battled with fear, both rising uncontrollably. David stood beside me, silent, his eyes a mixture of worry and guilt. I knew he too was torn between wanting to protect the past and facing the truth. "Mom," David sighed, his voice heavy, the woman in the photograph. "She is my sister." I took a step back, my heart stopping. My son's sister. How could I not know? How could this have been kept from me? Why? I demanded, my voice choked. Why was I left to live in silence, as if I were a stranger in my own family? David took a deep breath. "Mom, she had an accident when she was little, and our parents thought keeping it secret would protect her and the family. They never wanted you to suffer. But now, the truth can't be hidden any longer." A rush of long-suppressed pain surged within me. Yet, alongside it, a gentle light emerged. I was no longer alone. David was here, and even if he had hidden things, we could now face them together. "It's okay, David," I said, gripping his hand, my voice steadier. "We'll find the answers together. We have to know the truth, no matter how painful." David nodded, eyes glistening. The space between us was heavy, yet filled with hope. The fear, the anger, the loneliness of years past began to loosen their grip. I opened the diary again, reading each line about that woman, about the lost days, the fragments of memory buried deep. Every word was a piece of the truth, painful yet freeing. I realized that life, though filled with secrets and scars, still offered a chance to heal. Afternoon sunlight spilled into the room, illuminating the floor in golden streaks. I took a deep breath, feeling life pulse through me again. From the darkness of the past, we had found a glimmer of light, a light strong enough to illuminate the days ahead, to soothe old wounds, and to bring hope for the future. The room was so silent that every heartbeat seemed to echo like a drum signaling a battle. I sat before the diary, hands, trembling eyes fixed on the old pages. David stood beside me, silent, his gaze a mixture of fear and anticipation. "Mom," he began, his voice soft, the woman in the photograph. "She is my half-sister. Our father kept it a secret for many years." I gasped. My heart sank. David's sister. And no one ever told me. How could all of this have been hidden so thoroughly? "Why?" I cried, voice choked. "Why did everyone leave me to live in silence and lies?" David drew a deep breath. "She had an accident as a child, and our parents thought keeping it a secret would protect her. And the family. They didn't want you to suffer. But now the truth can't be hidden any longer." I felt the pain I had carried for so long surge through me. Yet alongside it, a warm light began to glow. I was not alone. David was here, and even if he had once concealed the truth, we could now face it together. "It's all right, David," I said, grasping his hand firmly. "We'll face this together. Knowing the truth, however painful, is the only way forward." David nodded, eyes glistening with unshed tears. The room felt heavy, yet filled with hope. The fear, the anger, the loneliness of years past were loosening their grip. I opened the diary to the next page, reading lines about the mysterious woman, the lost days, and the fragments of memory that had been buried. Each word was both painful and liberating. I realized that life, despite its shadows and secrets, still offered a chance for healing. Afternoon sunlight poured into the room, falling across the floor in golden streaks. I breathed deeply, feeling life return to me. From the darkness of the past, we had found light, light strong enough to illuminate the days ahead, to heal old wounds, and to offer hope for the future. After the truth was revealed, the house felt quieter than ever. No more forced smiles, no more hidden glances, only a heavy silence filled with reflection. David and I sat facing each other, eyes locked, needing no words. "Mom." David sighed, his voice low now that we know the truth. "I don't know where to begin to make things right." I smiled faintly, lips trembling, but eyes resolute. "There is no easy beginning, David, but at least now we know. And knowing is the first step toward change, toward healing." We started calling relatives, recounting the past, sharing the secrets that had long been buried. At first, there was surprise, confusion, even disbelief. Gradually, as explanations and stories came forth, pain gave way to understanding. Even my daughter-in-law, who once made me feel humiliated and isolated, began to see things differently. I noticed a trace of remorse in her eyes, but also a willingness to start anew. I took a deep breath and said, "We all have a past. But now, this is the present. And the future. We can build it together stronger than before." David clasped my hand, and for the first time in years, I felt the warmth of family. The fragments of memory that had been buried were no longer a burden. They were the foundation on which we could rebuild trust and love. The house no longer felt dark or oppressive. Sunlight streamed through the windows, painting golden patterns across the floor, signaling a new beginning. I knew the process of healing would be long and difficult, but I was no longer afraid. I had learned that facing the truth, no matter how painful, was the only way to find peace. And as I looked at David, smiling, his eyes clear and unburdened, I realized from the shadows of the past, we had discovered a light strong enough to guide our family forward, to heal old wounds, and to offer hope for the days ahead. The house finally returned to a gentle rhythm, but it was no longer one of pretense or tension. Every laugh, every glance carried sincerity, a shared understanding forged through trials and long-hidden secrets. I stood by the window watching David play with his sister, the one I had never known existed. Warmth flooded my heart. I recalled every moment of pain, every harsh word, every secret hidden away, and realized that all of it had led to this moment of reconciliation. My daughter-in-law approached, her eyes no longer cold, but sincere and willing to start anew. I smiled, a natural, unforced smile. "We all have a past," I said softly, "but what matters now is the present and the future. Together, we can create better days." There was a quiet pause. Then everyone bowed their heads in understanding. No anger, no lingering hurt, only empathy and a shared commitment to rebuild. I glanced at the old photograph, the letters, and the diary I had once held with trembling hands. They were no longer sources of pain, but bridges connecting me to understanding and growth. I knew that from now on, I would not be defined by the past. I had learned to forgive others, but most importantly, forgive myself. Afternoon sunlight poured through the windows, dancing on the wooden floors, signaling a new beginning. From the darkness of solitude and hidden truths, I had found the light, a light strong enough to illuminate the days ahead, to heal old wounds, and to inspire hope for the future. Looking around at my family, smiling and unburdened, I realized that this journey, long and arduous, had given us the most precious gift, peace within our hearts, and a fresh start for all of us. The story ended, but the light remained, reminding me that no matter how dark the past, facing it and choosing forgiveness can lead to true happiness and inner peace.